I'm Queen ShanShan, and this is a broadcast podcast. Hi, I'm Queen ShanShan of A Broadcast Podcast, and I have the ultimate pleasure of interviewing the Buzz Siler. Hi, Buzz. How are you?
Shannon, I'm excellent. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you for having me in your gorgeous home, which we'll be taking some video and pictures of. So don't sue me, right? We wanted to come here. I met you 3 or 4 months ago, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, through my friend Liz, who lives here in Temecula. And she introduced me to you, and I was just enthralled on you. And you built this gorgeous home, which we will definitely visit and take some pictures of this custom-made home with you and your wife, Sandy.
We're lucky. We moved down from Portland, Oregon a couple years ago and fell in love with Temecula Valley.
Really? Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to see why you moved from Portland, Oregon to it's a hot region down here, especially now in the summertime. This is wine country, and you built and own your new gallery here in Temecula, your art gallery. So we're going to get into that, right? So let's talk about your upbringing real quick. Buzz Siler, where does the name Buzz come from, by the way?
Well, actually, I was a junior. My dad's name was Lawrence, and so they named me Lawrence as well. But when my brother was born, they had already been calling me the boss in the family because I was the firstborn.
Right.
And my brother couldn't say boss, so he slurred it into Buzz, and from there it kind of grew into a nickname from my brother. So I tried to get rid of it when I got to college. Couldn't stand being called Larry, and so,
Lawrence, Larry, Lairs.
Yeah. So I just said, okay, I'm going to be a Buzz the rest of my life.
Okay. Oh, you got it.
Fortunately, Buzz Lightyear came out, and it made it a lot better for me.
That's right? Toy Story, thanks. Tell Disney we said hi.
Okay.
Right. And so you were raised in an Army or military setting,
Navy.
correct? Navy.
Yeah.
So you were an Army brat, or, we call
Navy
them Army brat, Navy
Yeah.
brat.
Yep.
And you traveled all over the place, right?
Every 2 years or so, my dad would get transferred to some other place, whether it be Oakland, California, or Kodiak, Alaska, or Memphis, Tennessee, just everywhere. Texas, Beeville, Texas. A lot of places where you wouldn't expect there to be a Navy base, and it would either be a small one or a big one.
Right.
But I love traveling. It taught me how to lose friends and how to gain friends quickly.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So cut to your high school and college years. You went to, what college you went to? Very esteemed university.
Well, I had gone to high school in Portland when my dad retired from the Navy.
Got it.
And when I got out of Portland, I got a scholarship to go to Carnegie Tech in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And between you and me, I jumped at it because I just wanted to get out of the house and be away from, my parents and just get out on my own. Mm-hmm. So I took that scholarship and moved to Pittsburgh for my first freshman year.
Was it a full ride or a partial scholarship?
It was just a partial.
And study in what? What was the major?
It was a Bachelor of Science degree that I was going for in graphics. And so that was the problem. I'm not a science guy. I'm more on the arts end of things. It was in graphics, and I thought, okay, well, I can manipulate that. But the fact of the matter is, because it was a science degree, I had to take math and all of the other sciences.
I'm horrible in math.
You and me both.
Horrible.
So I basically flunked out, and it was half because I didn't have the smarts to carry on a math major.
Did you like college, Buzz?
Actually, I didn't. It was a struggle for me. The only thing that I liked about it was meeting other people my age and being able to talk about anything. Mm-hmm. That's something that we lose, I think, when we get out of college, is the ability to be with our peers a lot. and everything in college was accepted, you know.
That's true.
So
A lot of people discover themselves personally, mentally, emotionally, sexually in college.
absolutely. And speaking of sexually, one of the things that motivated me as a musician was the fact that it attracted women.
Sure did.
Yeah, and
A guy playing guitar, absolutely.
it was the best.
The best.
Yeah. So it was a good experience from that standpoint, and I think that's why I gravitated to, having a band, doing the DJ stuff, and that type of thing.
You DJ'd in college?
When I was at Carnegie Tech in Pittsburgh.
What kind of music did you DJ?
It was pop music.
Just
That's
pop
when
music.
the Beatles were doing, their 1968, 69, that era. Martha and the Vandellas, those were the bands
right.
that were popular then. Couldn't wait for the next Beatles album to come out.
Of course.
And it was an exciting time for musicians because the Beatles made it exciting. So it was I loved that aspect of college. I was lucky to do the DJ work.
Did you finish college?
No. I actually went 4 years,
Uh-huh.
but at the end of the 4 years, I didn't have enough credits to graduate.
Okay.
And
At Carnegie Tech.
Well, actually, I went to Carnegie Tech for the first year, and then I had to transfer to University of Oregon because I was flunking out of Carnegie Tech.
Right.
So then I went the next 3 years to University of Oregon, and by the end of that time, things were happening so well for me in music because I had a band. We were writing music. We had some albums that were popular. We got a gig as the opening act for the Beach Boys, and then we had a recording contract with Pat Boone, who had a music company called Kugamuga.
Let's go back. Wait a minute.
Right.
You got the Beach Boys that recognized your band, which was called, what, X25, right?
At that point, we were called X25.
Why did you name your band X25?
Well, we had gone through a lot of different names, and for one reason or another, we either wore out our welcome as that name.
Yeah.
And we decided to get another gig, we probably had to change our name so they wouldn't know we were the same band.
Oh.
But X25 is a major departure from what we were doing before. I decided we needed a gimmick. And so X25 meant we were an experimental 2-bit band.
Got it. 25.
2-bit, 25 cents.
25 cents.
And so I designed some very Star Trek-ish looking costumes for us to wear. They were all white with black trim, mandarin collar, very military looking. But at the same time, we were wearing white tights and ballet shoes. And we used black lights to flash them off and on so that we would look like we would appear and disappear on stage instantly.
That's awesome.
It was fun. So at the time we got the recording contract with Pat Boone, it was my senior year, and the other 3 guys in the band was their junior year.
Yeah, and your brother is in this band as well.
My brother played the bass, and then we had Jim and John who played the organ and the drums.
And you played the guitar.
And I played the guitar. So we came to California on a recording contract, and we did a lot of studio work. And at the end of the summer, the 2 junior guys, Jim and John, wanted to go back to the University of Oregon so they could finish school. My brother and I made the decision to stick around and see if we could be stars. We wanted to be stars. And so we stayed. Obviously, we didn't become stars. But we had a great time here. And it led to a record album, and it led to some really great times in playing the whole Southern California area, all the way from Laguna Beach to Palm Springs, a little bit of San Diego, and we would fly out to Chicago somewhere to do somebody's bar mitzvah or something.
Fantastic.
It was fun.
It was fun. You eventually ended in Palm Springs.
Well,
with you and your brother.
Yeah, we were playing in Laguna Beach, and the guy who was the manager of the Riviera Holiday Inn in Palm Springs was visiting his girlfriend down on Laguna Beach, and he saw us, asked us if we wanted to go to Palm Springs, which at that time was like Las Vegas to us. So it was all expenses paid. Our living expenses, our food.
Love it.
So we said, yeah. So we went there in the heat of the summer. and had a great time. We built up a big following there, and eventually we were seen by a guy who owned a restaurant called The Sportsman up at Lake Arrowhead. And so we moved from Palm Springs up to Lake Arrowhead to play up there for a year. At the same time, I had a gallery, an art gallery. That's when I started my art career again.
Really?
Opened my art gallery in Palm Springs. So I was singing at night and doing the painting during the day.
You were doing your own paintings?
Yeah.
And you sold your paintings in the art gallery in Palm Springs?
Not enough.
You made more money entertaining than
Much
painting.
more money as an entertainer than I was as an artist.
Got it.
The gallery was called the struggling artist.
The struggling artist. Apropos.
Yeah, and I couldn't make enough money, so after 3 years, I closed the gallery and became a musician full time.
Got it. But you had a passion for.
You
had a passion for art, for painting, or had a passion for the musician portion?
I think that every artist, whether he be a painter, a musician, dancer, it doesn't matter, they have this yearning within them to be creative. And so that's why I think you see artists who are painters, you see painters who are musicians, you see all sorts of people crossing over, because we just have a passion to be creative.
Let's be honest, there's a reason why actors say, I really wanted to be a director. I really wanted to be a producer. Mm-hmm. And, you got the Brad Pitts and the George Clooney's and the Will Smiths and all these famous actors who wanted to flip the switch and become a producer or director, because they wanted to be behind the scenes. Yep. They made their money in front of the camera. Now they want to make their money behind the camera.
And many of those actors were accomplished musicians.
Yeah.
Nobody even knew about it until later.
Exactly. So let's cut to we moved to Palm Springs, and you had your art gallery, and then you started your own nightclub with your brother, correct?
Here's what we did. We had gone from Palm Springs up to Lake Arrowhead, worked there a year. At that time, they were building the Ontario Motor Speedway, and the guy who's the controller for the Ontario Motor Speedway had a cabin up at Lake Arrowhead. Mm-hmm. He saw my brother and I entertaining there on many occasions.
Small world.
And finally said, how would you guys like to open the Victory Circle Restaurant Lounge, in Ontario, at the Ontario Motor Speedway when we opened? We came down. Interesting story. We did not like the Pomona Valley.
The Pomona Valley Mining Company back in the day, which is a highfalutin restaurant to this day. People go to brunch, they love the Pomona Valley Mining Company. If you guys are from the IE, you guys know this restaurant. Very famous restaurant for their brunches. Yep. You didn't like it at that time.
It was too dry. If you compare Lake Arrowhead with all the pine trees and the lake and everything like that, it was more like Oregon. And so we really didn't want to go down to the Pomona Valley after seeing how dry it was. But we gave this guy a horrendous price for us to play there. And he paid it.
You're like, well,
he said, okay. And so we said, okay, we can't say no because he met our price. And so we moved down to Cucamonga. My brother and
Cucamonga at the time. Now it's called Rancho Cucamonga,
which
I'm from.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And we both bought trailers. We parked them right next to each other in a trailer park. So we had common patio between us. And we had a great time playing for a year at the Ontario Motor Speedway. And then we played for another year after that at a place on Foothill and Central called Tiffany's.
Yep.
And at several other small bars around town, Club 66 and a few others. We had a great time. Then my brother decided he wanted to go back to Oregon because he got married. They wanted to have kids, and they wanted to get out of California. So I became a single and started entertaining as a single artist around the nightclubs in the Ontario area.
Yeah.
And that's where I met my wife.
That's where you met your wife. So we're going to talk about Sandy in a minute. We definitely got to talk about Sandy because she is the pinnacle of, the new life that you discovered. When you before you met Sandy, you were still a musician / painter. I want to talk about real quick passion. A lot of people today have lost passions. Social media has taken or sucked passion from our lives. From YouTube to video games to Instagram, Facebook, what have you. What does passion mean to you, Buzz?
Well, for me, Passion comes from within. We have all of these external pressures on us to do things like make money.
Right.
Passion to me ignores money. It basically says what is going on within you that you must do, regardless of the money. That's what passion is. So these people who are artists, dancers, musicians, they would do it even if they never got paid a dime, even if they had to do it on the street corner for free.
But we have children. One of my good friends' son says, I want to be a YouTuber. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean you want to be a YouTuber? What are you going to YouTube? What are you going to video? Because you have to have some sort of content that keeps the audience engaged. So, there could be, a kid doing a skateboard act, or a kid swimming in a pool, or a kid eating mukbangs, which is just people eating different types of food. But, you got to still have a passion that drives you to do that. And regardless if you would be paid, but to be honest, a lot of the YouTubers are driven by money, by the, getting as many hits as you possibly can on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. We didn't have that when I didn't have that growing up. You didn't have that growing up.
Not a bit.
So the passion, the definition of passion today is quite askew than what it was 40 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
How do you define passion in 2019?
Well, let's talk about the recognition that you get, because that's part of what drives entertainers, is what drives musicians to do what they do. Back in my day, we had recognition. It was applause. People would clap when they saw you.
That was your like.
Yeah, that was our like. And so nowadays, likes are the applause you get.
Right.
And so this new age where we have cell phones, which are cameras and video cameras, I didn't have those back then.
Right.
So you did things on a one-on-one basis with people, or
we're engaged.
Yeah. So while the phone and video and all these things have opened up a lot of job opportunities for a lot of creative people.
True.
At the same time, it makes it a commodity as opposed to a passion. And so people are commoditized. Whatever the word is
with the ED.
They're making the creative process, YouTubing and all those kind of things, into a commodity.
Yeah.
And so that's why the youth are saying, I can make money at this, and it's something that I really enjoy doing. Who doesn't enjoy holding a camera and taking pictures of things? Everybody does. But now, because of phones, which are, cameras,
right,
everybody can do it.
It's true.
So now it makes it even tougher for you to rise to the top.
It's true.
Because you have so much competition.
And there's so much judgment behind it too.
Absolutely.
Which also can inflict creativity, because you're like, ooh, am I doing this right? Am I going to be judged if I'm a dork? Am I weird? Am I, is this going to be cool? Is it going to be acceptable in society? Is it going to get dislikes?
But we were talking about passion. Passion cuts through all that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a passion for something, it doesn't matter whether somebody likes you. It doesn't matter if you're being paid for it. Nothing matters but that passion within you to do it.
Preach. Preach. Okay, let's talk about your passion. How did you meet Sandy, your wife?
This is a great story. I was entertaining at the Ontario Holiday Inn, playing the guitar. She comes in with a date, and she's sitting down there. The date goes to the bathroom. I was so enamored with this girl immediately. I took a break immediately, went down and asked her for her phone number.
In front of her date?
No, her date went to the bathroom.
Oh! Sneaky snake.
Yeah. And she gave me her home phone and her work phone. And so I went back.
Back in the day, there was no cell phones, right?
And there was no 911.
There was no 911. There was no 900 numbers where she can give you a fake number either.
Well, the next day, I was really on top of the world, saying, here's this girl who is an angel that came. She looked like a beach girl, from a surfer.
Right.
And so I called.
And Margaret time, yeah.
So I called up her work phone, and it was the police department. Then I called up her home phone, and it was the fire department.
You thought she gave you a fake number?
She gave me 2 fake numbers.
She did give you fake numbers.
She worked at the phone company, and she knew the numbers to call those.
Shut it.
And so when she gave me the number. She wrote down the police department and the fire department.
Hilarious.
So, I lost her. A couple weeks later, she came in again with the same date.
Uh-oh.
He goes to the bathroom again.
And you're like,
I go down.
girl?
I take my break. I go down and I go, okay, you got me. I can't believe that I fell for it, but you got me. If you don't want to go out with me, just tell me.
You're not interested.
Otherwise, give me the right phone number.
Right.
And here we are.
So she wasn't digging
later.
the guy that she was dating? She wasn't digging him?
She doesn't even call him a date. It was a friend.
It was a friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, so she gave me the right phone number.
All
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. So you took her on a date. You guys fell in love. You have 4 children.
4 daughters.
4 daughters.
She already had a daughter when I married her, and we had 3 more.
Okay.
So we had all daughters.
Got it.
And then I said, cut that off. and,
Because you're going to have a softball team after that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
But that's how I met Sandy.
Okay.
And Sandy is an artist as well. So
she was a painter, drawer? What is
she does painting.
Okay.
Yeah. But the best part about it is when I married Sandy, I gave her my checkbook and I said, I'm not good at this. You remember the math?
Money managing?
Couldn't do anything. And she was really good at it. And so I said, I'll make the money, you work it out to where we can pay our bills. And she did. So it was a great combination. It still is. If you ask me how much our heating bill is, I have not a clue.
You know what? We're going to take a break. This is a great time to take a break real quick. And we're going to get into how you really made some good money, because you are an inventor, you are an entrepreneur, you are an artist, you are a musician, and you're a husband. We're going to talk about how you juggled all 5 compartments, which is insane.
If you live long enough, you can put them all together.
So we're going to take a break real quick, and we're going to get in that. We're going to take a break, and let's get into more of Buzz Siler.
Queen ShanShan, I hear you have a date tonight.
Why, yes, I do. And we're actually looking for a place to eat for dinner tonight. Any suggestions?
Yes, I know the perfect place. Ma's Italian Kitchen.
Great idea. They have an amazing seared salmon plate, grilled New York steak, and also baked chicken parmigiana.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You know what? I gotta tell them Queen ShanShan sent me. Hunty!
Buzz, you are creative, you're talented, you're ingenious, in my opinion. With that being said, I was shocked to find out you're an inventor. You have invented stuff for us.
Remember earlier we were talking about passion, but we were also talking about the balance between passion and trying to make money.
Right.
Well, with a wife and 4 daughters, I really had to find out a way to make money and keep it as close to being creative as possible. Being an inventor actually filled the bill, because you can work on creating something practical that you can license out to another company, and you spend about a year trying to perfect it, license it out, and you get up to about 20 years of royalties coming in from the sales of these products. So it was a good alternative for me to bridge that gap between right brain and left brain and make money. And I loved it, absolutely loved it.
So if you guys are wondering where we are in Buzz's theater room, because he's got it going on like that. He's got his own theater room here. And the sound is a little different. It's less echoey, which is wonderful. Your house, again, we're going to take pictures and videos of your gorgeous custom-made home. What made you decide, what was your first project that you invented?
It was called Spajamas.
For a spa,
For
a jacuzzi.
spa. My wife and I, we opened this nightclub, because I was entertaining and I wanted to.
And that again, was in Ontario or Upland?
It was in Upland.
So it was in the the Holiday Inn, right? No?
Here's what it was. When I had built up a following in that valley,
Yes.
I decided I don't want to end up being an entertainer all my life, because I could see other entertainers who were getting older and they started making less and less money the older they got. So I said, how do I make this transition from being an entertainer with a following to being a businessman without a following? So I opened up my own restaurant nightclub.
What was it called?
It was called the Cat and Fiddle.
The Cat and Fiddle.
The Cat and Fiddle.
Why'd you name it that?
Well, I had seen a picture when I was over in Europe in Buxton, England, of a little old-timey bar on the road called the Cat and Fiddle. And I thought, that's just a great feeling to have, the little cat kind of playing around.
Right.
And so it was good. But I had married Sandy 2 years into opening up the Cat and Fiddle. We had been dating for 4 years. And so we finally got married. And then we had it for about another 5 years. But during that time, I met a guy named Mike who opened up a spa dealership in Ontario. And so I offered to trade him out credit at our restaurant bar for a spa.
Okay.
So he did it. And so we put a spa in our backyard, and I couldn't keep the damn thing clean.
Leaves, dirt,
everything.
Bugs.
You want it to look really romantic.
Pristine, yeah.
So you have shrubbery all around it and all that kind of stuff. They fall into the spa. So at that time, they didn't have all the different variety of covers that we have now. So I designed a cover that kind of like a drum head. It was a big piece of nylon tricot with a drawstring around it. So you could put it over the spa, cinch up the drawstring, and it would hold over the top of the spa. The best part about it was lightweight, it was washable, it would collect all the leaves, so when you want to go in the spa, you just pull the thing off.
And bugs and...
Yeah, everything.
Just,
So the only thing they had at that time was the floating bubble packs that went on top.
And that would...
If things fell on them, they would fall into the spa.
And if it was windy, it would fall off.
Exactly. So anyway, I designed this cover, made it for myself, and then my neighbors started asking me to make them for them. Fortunate for me, Spa and Sauna magazine was being published out of Newport Beach. So I went into them to see if I could get an ad, like a press release.
Perfect.
The guy who ran the company said, Buzz, not only will I give you a press release, but he said, I will buy your company.
Oh my gosh.
And I went,
shut it.
I don't want to sell my company. No.
I
was stupid back then. I should have done it. But anyway, so I didn't. I said, no, I'm going to hold on to the company, but thank you for the press release. So for about 4 or 5 years, I was the king of spa covers. I was selling them to everybody in the United States that sold spas. They were buying our covers.
Like you made hundreds of thousands?
Thousands and thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Probably not hundreds of thousands, but at least 100 or 200 of thousands.
Good for you.
It was a good start. The problem was I was stupid.
Why?
Because other inventors would come to me and say, I have a new idea for a cover.
I can make it better.
I have the roll-up kind. I have the hard shell. I have the thick foam shell. I turned them all down. And I said, why would I want to handle somebody else's cover? They'll just take my business away from me on my covers.
You didn't have a business consultant
or a
mentor at that time?
I didn't realize that the customer base that you build up in a product is more important than the product itself.
Correct.
It's like all these .coms.
Because they want to make something better.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so I should have sold the company when I had the opportunity. As it was, I had it for 5 years and then closed the doors after 5 years because our sales just kept going down. Every new cover that came on the market, took our business away. It was okay. It was a good lesson.
Learning curve.
It was a lesson to learn. And but I had the bug then. I realized that if you invent something, you can generally make money at it, if it's a good item. So I started. In the meantime, Sandy and I moved to Oregon because we had our kids, and we said, let's get them out of this LA environment. Moved to Oregon. I started skiing up at Mount Hood, and so the second product that I created was called a Ski-G goggle wiper.
Is that what I'm holding right now?
That's what you're holding. Okay.
That's what I'm holding. The Ski-G.
So it's made of a little PVC material.
Yes.
And it goes on your glove thumb when you're skiing or you're snowboarding. So as you're going down like this, you just reach up and squeeze. Oh, that's right.
You just wipe the ice or the snow away from the goggles.
Exactly. And
perfect.
Up in Oregon, we have a lot of rain.
Look at this.
So
you invented this.
I still sell that product all over the world today.
No way. No, did you do the smart time?
That was 30 years ago that I did.
And you sold this to a company who now manufactures this?
No.
What?
I actually handled it myself. It was one of the products that I never licensed out because in this particular industry, the skiing industry, they know about 6 months ahead of time what they want to order. They do with clothing, they do with accessories and
Right.
stuff like that.
And ski season's
so,
coming up now.
Yeah, they give me the order for what they want about 6 months in advance. I order them from Taiwan, where I have them made. I get them in plenty of time to ship them off to them. And so it only takes me about a week out of the year to do this product.
Where do you go? You go to Taiwan to do it?
Taiwan, yep.
No way. And you get the colors, you get the design taken care of.
They manufacture them in Taiwan. Here's typically how the formula works for everybody to make a profit. We make them for 12 cents.
No way.
We sell them to the distributors for 65 cents.
Okay.
They sell them to the ski shops for about $1.25.
Okay.
The ski shop sells them to the customers for anywhere between $2.50 and $3. Everybody makes a good profit margin.
Gosh.
So the consumer's paying $3 for a 12-cent item. But it makes it. That's why after 30 years, it's still around, and all the other products that were my competitors have gone by the wayside.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have the upper end. You have the upper hand on this product.
Absolutely, because there's no labor involved in it. All the other copycats, they would sandwich a piece of rubber between some cardboard. They would have them on keychains. They did all sorts of things.
Well, you can still have this on a keychain if you wanted
You
to,
could
right?
if you wanted to. The good part about it, I mold the logo right into it, and so there's no labor. They make them, they put them in boxes, and I send them off. So it's all machine.
And because the gloves are so thick, this fits perfectly on the thumb
Yep.
and of your gloves, your ski gloves, if you're a snowboarder,
Yeah.
whatever, if you're on your snowmobile machine, and all you got to do is literally do this.
And motorcycle riders are using them now.
Oh,
because
for the mud and dirt?
A friend of mine saw this, and he designed gloves that have them sewed right into the glove itself, either on the finger or on the back of the hand. And so a motorcycle rider can reach up in the rain and just squeeze you off your goggles. So it became a really good product for us.
What other items have you invented?
In the housing industry, there's such a thing as central vac systems. The central vac, they put a vacuum cleaner in the garage. They run tubing throughout the entire house.
My friend Heather, who is in San Diego, she's got the central vac system in her home, and she does it. There's a little hookup or an accessory in her kitchen or in her dining room, and so instead of bringing out the big old vacuum machine, she just hooks with the hose, and it sucks up the dirt or whatever in an essential area in the home.
It works great for rugs and things like that. On hard floors, I thought at the time, wait a minute. If you're sweeping a floor, you have to use a dustpan.
Correct.
And then dump it in the garbage.
Right.
What if we had something that was close to the ground, and you could just sweep your kitchen debris into it and suck it out into the same place where the rest. So I designed this thing called a vac pan.
A vac pan.
And it has a nozzle on it at floor level, about 8 inches wide by maybe half an inch tall. Hooked up to the same system. You just flip it on with your foot. Sweep your kitchen debris into it. It sucks it away, and you never have to grab a dustpan.
Did you install that here in the home as well?
No, we didn't.
Why not?
Well, one of the reasons we didn't was because the product has seen its day. Most products come and go, and so a lot of people realize that having a little vacuum cleaner is convenient. Having a big, long, 30-foot hose, and trying to snake your way around through doorways and stuff like that is not convenient. But in its day, we were on top of the world.
You were on top of it.
It worked out so well.
Yeah.
We had royalties coming in for about 20 years, which is the lifetime of a patent, and we made a lot of money on it.
Congratulations.
After that, I designed a special bag for the banking industry called a Safe Pack. And just before Sandy and I moved down here to Temecula, I sold the company. And it was a special bag of canvas and metal that goes into night depository safes at a mall site. All the merchants generally will put their money in pouches and put them into it. You open up the bin,
and the deposit.
They don't fall into the open safe. They fall into my bag called a Safe Pack inside that safe. Every day, the armored carrier comes and picks up those 200 or 300 deposits and takes them to a processing site. Before I invented the special bag that goes inside of there with a bunch of electronics built into it for security.
There's electronics in the bag?
Yeah, because they were having a problem. 2 bank people would have to leave a bank location to meet 2 armored carriers at the mall site. They would open up the door, 4 of them, and they would count out 200 or 300 deposits, manifest them on a sheet of paper with the bag numbers. And so it took about 4 people 20 minutes a day to do it. Once I put my bag in there, one armored carrier could do it on his own without the bank people there, and it took him about 1 minute because we put a framework inside the safe. We have the bag with a metal rim. It slides in like a drawer, but it locks in automatically because of the electronics that I have built into it. So it's locked in there. All the deposits fall in there. The next time, a day later, that the armored carrier comes back, he takes a lid out of the front pocket of the bag, slides it into a narrow slot at the top of the bag.
Yeah.
The lid locks on automatically. And after the lid is locked on and the bag is sealed, it releases the bag to him.
What was your creativity behind that? From spa pajamas to the skiji to
I'll tell you,
banking.
to be a good inventor, you have to be a good listener.
Okay.
And you listen to people complain. That's the bottom line.
Who was complaining to you?
The bank people. They were talking about
The
losing
bank, like
money.
bank owners or bank tellers were complaining to you? Or
tellers and
you
stuff
had
like that.
You had connections and relationships with people working in the banking industry?
When you have a bank account and stuff like that, and you get to know the bank people pretty well after a number of years, and sometimes they'll be saying things like, "Oh, we just had a robbery," or "We're missing a couple $1,000 and we don't know where it is," and that type of
Wow.
thing. And so, in learning about some of their problems, I realized that when those 4 people were together picking up those deposits, one of them could say, "Wow, look at that girl over there. She looks really good." 3 of the people would look that direction. He would put one of the deposits in his pocket, and nobody would know. Then they couldn't blame any one of the people because there were 4 people
That's
there
right.
when it was gone. So by making one person accountable through my bag system, there wasn't anybody else to blame. If a deposit
So
was
it was-
missing, it had to be that one person.
And they were the accountability person.
Yeah. So anyway, you just have to be a good listener and listen to people complain about things.
You guys hear that? So if you guys ever wanted to invent a product or a service, listen to what the public is saying.
Yeah,
Because they want that improvement on that product or service.
that's right. As a matter of fact, you don't have to make a better product in the sense that it's built better or any of that kind of stuff. But if you make it more convenient,
Correct.
you will sell it over
Honey,
your competition.
we are a society of convenience
Absolutely.
these days. We want it. I don't want to do 2 clicks. Let me do 1 click on the mouse.
Yep.
And then I can engage.
So I've got lots of different inventions that I've done over the years from listening. When I would go to the dentist, I would hear people complaining about the taste of the bite wing tabs, the cardboard things that go in your mouth.
And
when
I
they're-
just was
Yeah.
the dentist 2 days ago.
So I invented a spray called Flavor Mist. And it came in 4 different flavors. And the dentist would spray a little bit of a flavor like bubble gum or something like that for kids.
Or mint or something.
Or mint. We had spearmint, bubblegum, chocolate, and raspberry. And so they would spray it on the bite wing tab or any other thing they were putting in your mouth, like the impression tray and
Right.
things like that.
Right.
Kids would put it in the kid's mouth, and it was a more pleasant experience.
Right.
So that was Flavor Mist.
Oh.
But believe me, I've had my share of losers too. So there's a lot of things where you think they're going to be a good product because of one thing or another, liability or somebody else very soon after you put it on the market comes up with a better product.
Right.
So you lose your money. You just hope that the money you make from the winners outweighs the money you spend for the losers.
Correct.
And I've been lucky that way.
Well, congratulations, Buzz.
Thanks.
That's amazing. Let's tail in it back to the creative side, the other side. I mean, obviously you've been creative and from musician, inventor, from painter, musician to inventor. Now we're gonna go circle back to painter.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Queen ShanShan, I actually want Jack Frost to be nipping at my nose while I'm roasting my chestnuts on an open fire outdoors. So that means I need a chimney and an outdoor pit. Do you know anybody that can do that for me?
Happy holidays, Hunty, Edward. Yes. And you know what? You're going to contact RB Paving and Landscape Design at 760-947-4191 for a free quote. Or you can also contact them online at Beltran Paving and Landscape Design. Hunty and happy holidays.
Let's go back to your wife. Your wife was also an artist as well, or is an artist.
She is an artist now. At the time that we were in Lake Oswego, Oregon, I built a painting studio, and she became more prolific as an artist. And so She's a good artist. She doesn't give herself enough credit. People don't give her credit because frankly, I overshadow her, and she doesn't get the credit she deserves. But she's a good artist. The best part about it is she understands me, and she allows me to be creative and to spend money sometimes when we shouldn't be on doing things. I wanted to open a gallery in Paris, France. And so I said, let's do it. So 5 years ago, we flew over to Paris. I took $10,000 in my pocket in cash, and I walked the streets of the Marais, which is the tourist section in Paris.
Yeah.
And I found a lady who had a space for sale, and she agreed to rent it to me.
Just random. You're just walking down the street.
I just walking down the street, looking at the phone numbers on the signs for sale, for rent, whatever.
Okay.
Called her up, and I said, I need to rent a space for 3 months. And so she agreed to rent it to me. And so it was during tourist season in the summer. So I rented it for 3 months. We sold a ton of art.
Was it your art?
My art, yeah.
Just all your art?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
You did so much for 3 months that you were able to ship it to Paris?
Oh, it was great because I took a lot of paintings off of the boards that held them, and I rolled them up in a big roll. So I took over about 20 paintings with me, and then as soon as I got there, I bought paint and canvases, and I started painting.
Okay.
So, and I took over a lot of prints, the paper prints. So it was the best experience of my life as an artist because Paris is the center of the art culture.
Of course it is.
And you meet people from all over the world.
Yes, you do.
So I was able to sell my art to people from Europe, which was a natural, to people in South America and people in South Africa and in the United States. So it was a great experience.
Let's talk about your aesthetic. So for people who don't know your history in art, what is the medium that you use?
I use both acrylics and oils, and I mix them. If you can imagine, if you're making salad dressing, you put oil in there, but you also put water and stuff like that. If you shake it up, it'll kind of mix together. But if you let it set, the oil always rises to the top.
Correct.
Okay, that's the principle of my paintings. They're very liquid looking because I lay the canvas flat on the table, I put water all over the canvas, and then I put on a layer of latex acrylic paint, which is water-based. Then with a stick, I take oil-based paint and I start drawing my image. What happens is that oil-based paint floats on top of the water-based paint and starts moving. So I don't care about being exact. If I'm doing a portrait of you, I don't care that it looks like a photograph of you. I want to try to get your character, and it's okay with me if something a little odd going off this direction.
Well, honey, I wouldn't mind you're a next muse.
You got to get naked.
Oh, I'm not getting naked. H-E double hockey sticks, no. But we can do them with me in the wig and a nice, amazing caftan or something like that. Speaking of that, most of your paintings are of women.
You remember we talked a little earlier about being a musician because it attracted women?
Yes.
Being an artist who paints women also attracts women.
Of course it does.
And it's one of these things that I have come to love every single woman that I've seen. When I see a woman for the first time, as an artist, I look for what is special about that woman. It may only be eyelashes that are nice and long on an otherwise unattractive
Plain
face.
Jane woman.
Or it may be the way she dresses. It may be the way she curls her hair or the way she parts it. Maybe the color of her eyes or the shape of her lips. But there is something beautiful about every woman in this world.
What would you paint of me?
Oh, let me tell you. First of all, that hair.
Okay. Remember, I have 18 of these at home.
I know. But the very first day I met you, it blew me away.
Okay. I don't know which one. I don't know which piece I was wearing when I met you.
I don't remember either, but it was full and big.
It was full and big.
And
okay.
you know, I don't deal with full hair very often. So anyway, but you have the best color eyes too.
Thank you.
If somebody gets close to you, I told my wife, and it's true for you too. My wife has cow eyes. If you get up really close to a cow, cows have the most beautiful eyes.
They do.
And so, your eyes are that brown, and
They're hazel.
Yeah, and I just love that about you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Not only that, you're going to be 90 years old, and your skin is going to look like you were 10 years old.
Black does not crack for a reason, Buzz.
I can believe it.
It's called melanin.
Yeah.
We're very blessed with it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that people are getting actual injections to become...
Really?
Yeah, they're getting people... white people are getting injections to become dark like us. We have that melanin skin. Honey, you cannot fake the real thing.
No, it is
We're
beautiful.
genuine. Preach, work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You see my mother. My mother's 79, and she still looks she still looks like she's in her 40s.
That's
and she's
great.
got the gray hair. She got the salt and pepper.
Yeah.
My dad looks great. He turns 80 next month.
Gee.
So honey, we're blessed. Trust.
But and speaking of guys, it's not that I only paint women.
Okay.
I have 2 or 3 paintings of guys, but it's only because when I painted the woman, she was so god-awful ugly that I decided I better make this into a guy because nobody's going to believe this is a woman.
Work.
So I put a mustache on him and a goatee.
And that was the man picture. That was the man painting.
Yeah. I have one called Proud Pierre, where I was trying to paint a hooker on a street corner in Paris. And she just looked so manly that I eventually put a mustache and goatee on her and made her into a man. Called it Proud Pierre.
Well, after this, we're going to have a take on we're going to take some videos and pictures of your home. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And your pieces that you have felt that was appropriate for your home. Before we close, you have an art gallery here in Temecula, California, wine country. Why did you decide to go open up an art gallery here in Temecula?
As an artist, why do writers write? Why do musicians play? Why do artists paint? We want to communicate. That's our way of communicating with the public. I could sit in my garage and I could paint all day long and be a happy camper as far as the art is concerned. But I want to communicate to the public. The only way that I really can do that is by having an art gallery.
Okay.
So it's why I had an art gallery in Portland, Paris, France, New York, and now here in Temecula.
You have one in New York too?
Yeah, in Hudson, New York, which
Wow.
it's a vacation spot up the Hudson River, about a 2-hour train ride from New York City. And so the year after I did Paris, France, I spent 3 months with Sandy, and we opened up an art gallery in New York. All of the New Yorkers, when the leaves are changing, they take the weekend off and they go up to Hudson.
Correct.
And so a good friend of mine who was an illustrator, she says, don't open in Manhattan. She says, you're going to get a closet for $5,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So I went to Hudson. I rented a 3,000 square foot gallery.
Wow.
And had it for 3 months, all the way from the leaves being green, clear to being reds and browns and yellows.
So like from August,
browns.
September, October?
Exactly. And it was phenomenal. I had never seen such colors in my life. And so it was a beautiful experience. And I was able to sell paintings to a captive audience. The people who went up there to see the leaves, they would spend the night there. After being out all day looking at leaves, they had nothing to do. And so
they would have dinner, and they want something else to do after dinner. Hey, babe, let's go look at an art gallery.
So I purposely had my gallery open until 10 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And that way, I would attract people when all the other stuff was closed. They came in and bought paintings. That was the good part.
So being here in Temecula, where it's wine country, it's dry, it's hot in the summertime, chilly in the wintertime. I mean, not super cold in the wintertime. That's why the grapes are here and the vineyards are here, because it's great places. It's a great area to cultivate a wine harvest. Mm-hmm. Why, again, this particular area?
The wineries that are out here, they're generally open till 5 o'clock and they close, generally.
Correct.
What do the people do at night? They go down to Old Town.
Right.
And they have dinner and they party and have their
go to
drinks
bed
and
at
stuff
9
like
o'clock.
that.
Yeah.
It's like New York. It's a captive audience with these people who have nothing to do at nighttime after being out during the daytime. So it's a perfect opportunity for an art gallery if they're in the right location downtown where you have all this foot traffic, hundreds of people walking past your front door.
Thousands of people.
Every single day. And so it's just a natural for a gallery to be down there where you have all the tourists. If I have people, I can sell a certain amount of art because it's a numbers game. 100 people look at my paintings, one will love something enough to buy it.
You're the only art gallery in Temecula.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
They started off, I started learning the history of Temecula, and they had antique shops everywhere. It used to be the antique mecca.
Nooks and crannies.
Yep, everywhere.
You know.
And so then, as the bars and restaurants and the wineries all started growing in popularity, the antique stores started moving across the city, from across the swale, that river that goes right next to the city. They moved to the other side. But little by little, the price of space in Old Town became too expensive for the antique shops.
Of course.
Not too expensive for a restaurant or a bar. And so the antique shops have pretty much all gone. There's only one or two left.
I've noticed that over the years.
It's a shame.
Because people would come here just for antiquing.
Yeah.
And getting their wine on.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing. Go to the wines during the day and then go shopping the next day.
We have 65 wineries out here now. And
65.
probably 40 weddings every weekend.
Oh, honey, it's packed. My best friend got got married here at Faulkner years ago, and I've had other weddings that came here as well. And we actually have girls' weekends here. We rent you get an Airbnb house here, an estate.
Yeah,
for really affordable. You know,
it's a great.
This is
venue.
a nice area to stay for the weekend.
It's a secret I'm going to tell you right now.
What's the secret?
I'm negotiating with a winery, a very prominent winery right now, to put a gallery in their winery.
And what if it's one of the ones I'm a member of?
I can't say, but anyway.
It's
so
a secret
look forward
deal.
to the future.
Do I get VIP access?
Of course.
I better get.
But the other thing that Sandy and I are going to do, we spent this last couple of years building this house.
Yes, you did.
And so that took all our time. And so I wasn't able to really get out there and promote my art because we were working on the house. And now that the house is done, we have the opportunity to look for other opportunities for art. And one of them is doing these pop-up galleries again. So next summer we're going to do 3 months in Carmel. Carmel is a great art town.
Yes, it is.
And so we'll spend next summer in Carmel.
I'll be there. I'll visit because I love Carmel. I love Monterey.
We do too.
I love it. It's gorgeous.
Carmel has a whole bunch of art galleries already.
Highfalutin.
Yep. And then, of all places, this sounds crazy, but somebody recommended when I was in Paris that I do a pop-up gallery in Dubai. And I said, wait a minute.
Why?
I paint a lot of women. I paint a lot of nudes and things like that.
Yeah, very conservative country.
And they said, Buzz, we have just as many nudes painting in our home as you do, but they're all hidden in the bedroom, so you don't see them when you get in the living room and stuff like that. But he said, the people in the Middle East, they love naked women just as much as you do. And
all right, work.
So anyway.
All right, that's going to be a trip. That's going to be also expensed on A Broad Productions account. You hear that, tax? You hear my tax lady?
That's good.
Make sure that's a business expense.
It gives us the opportunity now that we're out of Portland and here in a resort area,
right,
to be able to be here during the on time here, to go away during the summer when the summers are hot here.
Yeah, it is.
But the summers are perfect in Carmel.
They sure
and
are.
There are places in the world where summers are a great place to be.
Buzz, I want to take this time out to say thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
It has been my pleasure. Look, this is, as best I can say it, a mutual admiration society. From the moment that I met you, I was impressed with how easy you are to be with, how comfortable you make a guest feel when you're talking with them. It's like being a family member and just talking about old times. It's good. But you are an amazing woman. You do a lot of things.
I do.
And I'm amazed that you do this. This is part of your passion, I think.
It is. This is my passion.
Yeah.
We spoke briefly about passion, and my passion has always been about travel, food, beauty, and culture. It's how I was raised. I was raised. I was raised, Rancho Cucamonga, this podunk town, an hour away from Los Angeles. And where did I get this passion? From my mother, from my father, my brother, but also my friends, and just the love of seeing the world and talking to people. I've always been engaged in learning what makes people tick, what makes people talk. Why do they end up this particular time in their life, and how are they working with that? And I always mirror it to myself. I'm 47 years old. I'm still growing. I'm, if you want to consider me middle-aged, I'm middle-aged now. But I have a lot more to see in this world. I have a lot more to experience. And I don't want to experience it in my home only. I want to go to Dubai. I want to go to Paris, which I've had experience in Paris, which is phenomenal. I want to go to countries that I've never been to. I want to talk to, that particular person in that corner and see, why is she doing this or why is he doing this, and talk to their families and eat their food and, taste their spice of life. And I know that there's a lot of people who just want to watch me. And congratulations. Thank you for watching me and listening to my voice. I just started this. I just started this road. So I'm so grateful that Liz introduced me to you and your wife. And we have Devin here who's been behind the scenes. Thank you, Devin, who has been my cameraman for tonight's show. I really appreciate that. But I am eternally grateful for you. We're going to take some pictures and some videos of your home now and let people see the true essence of Buzz Siler. And I just want to say thank you. Just immediate, internal gratefulness.
It's my pleasure. And I want you to know, as I listen to you talk about the things that you have done, you're 47 now? When you get to be, I'm 73.
You look amazing.
When you get to be older, these are the things you will look back on and go, those were the most valuable things I did for myself in my life.
Thank you.
And so I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
If you are abroad and want to come on our show to discuss experiences with food, culture, beauty, and travel, please email us at abroadproductions@gmail.com. You can also find more information about our show on our website at abroadproductions.com. Follow us on Instagram at Queen ShanShan, our Facebook fan page, which is Abroad Productions, and Twitter, which is at _broad_prod, spelled PROD. And if you also want to be on the show, email us as well at abroadproductions@gmail.
And thank you all for tuning into A Broadcast Podcast, A Broad Productions. This is our first audio and video podcast. We hope you like it. Please sound off in the comments below. Let us know what you want to see in the future, because we're going to have more shows like this. We're going to have more productions like this. So to only make myself better is to let me know what I need to work on, what you want to hear, what you want to see. And we're going to take this show to a whole different level, honey. Oprah Winfrey don't have anything on me, honey. Wendy Williams, who? Watch out, world. We are here. And thank you for listening to Abroad.